Hey folks, we're going to continue working on artwork for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we're going to be publishing here on DMsGuild as soon as it goes live, as soon as we finish all the artwork. So give me a second here to check my signal, make sure everything's coming through okay, and I'll go through a quick intro spiel, and then we'll get to work here for a couple hours. So if you're new to the channel, mic check, so if you're new to the channel, mic check, so all right, so hey, if you've been here before, or if you're catching us up here in the future, hey guys, welcome to the future. You can skip ahead like a minute or two, and I'll be through my intro spiel getting into work. But for everybody else that's new here or just tuned in, welcome to the mix. My name is Theurgy. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years. There is a slew of work that I have previously created that is published on DMsGuild.com. There are slews of links to the different books that I've created down below. And amongst them, there's probably about 150 different illustrations that you can look at as part of the free preview content. So if you're here for pixel pushing and art streams, you can check out those books at no costs for you to see a bunch of work that I've created previously in practical use inside of books like we're going to be creating here today. If you're here for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition design ideas, DM tips, etc., or just malarkey in general, definitely welcome to the mix. The stuff that I build is meant for both players and DMs. I run campaigns as a DM in 5th edition from level 1 to 20. It takes about 200 to 250 hours for me to finish a campaign. Then I'll start a new one and repeat the cycle. So the stuff that I build are things that I needed for my table that just ended up being cool that I fleshed out into a full product, or it was an idea for a product that I ended up building a campaign around so I could play test it, and it was apparently fun enough for us to be able to move forward with. So if you think this stuff is cool, consider making a purchase to help enhance your campaign as well. Otherwise, I've just posted that I am on Twitter, X. You can follow me there at Theurgy if you wish. Best way to support the channel is like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers is our first major milestone, so thanks a lot everyone that's been tagging along and finding some value here. Really appreciate it. So what are we talking about? We create book covers, we illustrate them, and then we publish them online, right? So this is a book cover that we created. It was back around episode 15 that we made this, and we are currently at, what, episode 264, so you can check the Wayback Machine to see how that came through. And so we have an idea for a game, we run playtests for it, either inside of a live campaign, or we build a campaign for that content to run in. Once it turns out it's good, then or it's fun and worth developing, we do so. We then, once it's finalized, send it off to an editor to make the words sound good, who then sends it back to me. I then take a layout program like this. I'm just using MS Word here, and you can see that we break up the ideas of mechanics into digestible chunks on each page. And once we are through with dividing up the page into their own little sections, that gives us an opportunity to then actually build some art. So we'll zoom into a page. Let's see, and then we have a page here, so we can then extract this as a PDF. Come over here into Photoshop and drop it onto the page. And once it's here on the page, then we can start illustrating. So that is where we're at in this process. Once we finish this illustration and all the other illustrations for the book, we'll be able to extract them from Photoshop, pick them up, and drop them back down into the book like this, seal it up into a PDF, publish it on DMsGuild, and provide a link with a free preview for you guys to check it out. There's about 72 tokens in there, like ship tokens, creature tokens, about 10 maps, all the NPCs that you're going to need to face in the Light of Zaraxis adventure. The first 80 some odd pages of this are mechanics for running more in depth and having just basic space physics for 5e. And then the back 20 pages of this is a conversion guide for the Light of Zaraxis adventure that was created to showcase Spelljammer. We showcase Spelljammer Combat and Exploration by then taking that adventure and then further converting it using these mechanics, so you have more physics, details, timing, and encounter options for the different encounters in the adventure that is Light as Araxis. So that's the quick skinny of it all. And so we're just going to go ahead and get to work here. We got a timer going here. We got about 90 minutes on the board that we can play. Plenty for today. I'm still shaking off that cold from last week. So right now, what we were doing when last we tuned into our Gallant Hero, we were creating details for the closest building structure in the community, the lodge. Here it is. We spent a good portion of time fleshing this out. I'm still absolutely thrilled with it. It's good enough as is. Well, I mean, I still have to fill in the details here and then put in roof. I mean, structurally, it's good. The lighting, I like it. I think I'm going to end up doing some highlights here along the rim to help reflect the, I don't know, I guess that feels like a moon. I don't know, moon, star, whatever. It's a source of light in the sky. So we're going to use that to create some highlights here. We'll probably end up brushing some highlights along the trees here. That's where we stopped. And now we're going to pick up. And so instead of continuing work here right now, I'm going to divert our attention back here to see if I zoom in just a little bit more, it actually pixelates, where it breaks down and you start losing recognition of what the image is. This is a 300 DPI, which is color print quality level of resolution for detail. And as you can see, it's very small on the page. Here's your text, right? So it's unlikely that that anyone would, well, people with normal eyes anyway, probably wouldn't need to zoom in more than like this to be able to consume the document. Hell, you people out there on the internet might be able to consume it at this size, so you can read the entire page in one glance. My blind eyes require me to zoom into at least at this point, which is about 30% volume. But to point, at this scale, this level of rendering is pointless because you can't see it, but it's a PDF, so you can actually zoom in that close once you own the document. You can get in really close. So me spending time on this type of detail is actually important to me. And so we've been spending some time on the detail like this because it was important to me. So that is there. We're using this as our framework. I'm then going to come back over here, and I think what we're going to do next is start fleshing this stuff out too, so that we have comparative objects moving further and further into the distance. And once we have these buildings at the same level of basic structural integrity as these buildings, then I guys got a bit of a tilt going on over here. Let's fix that real quick. Y'all can see I pulled this stuff together like this by fixing my bullshit. This is what we'll be doing today. This is today's task. This is all this stuff, this type of stuff. Stuff like this.net. So, strap in, y'all. Pardon. I feel like I want to grab here. And like this. Obviously, the level of detail necessary at this scale of rendering isn't nearly as intense as the work we had put in last week for the foreground lodge, obviously. Right now, all I really need to do is just make sure that I keep my perspective straight. See, I've got these four colors, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Basically, 4 different colors that I'm using to illustrate these houses at this scale. And they're all being plucked off of the foreground house. So it's a very limited color palette set that lets us work in this, what's the best way of, what's the best word for that? it's a limited color palette. What word? Muse, where am I going? Where am I, Gal? Where am I going with this? I was having a conversation and it just lifted off of me. But oh yeah, because this level of resolution, we don't have to worry about super deep details, and the limited color palette, having only 4 colors in detail, allows us to basically be able to focus more on the structure of it overall instead of worrying about like really specific details. We can use just very basic detail is going to allow us to accomplish a lot of narrative detail. Do like that. See how that works. Good stuff. I spy with my eyes something that is text. Give me a hot second to give a gander down there in the corner once I get to it. Right now, I just want to get this scaffolding work in place. I know this level of detail is just completely pointless for the scale of the project. But again, it's knowing it's there. This is building a lot of muscle memory and new skills for me in just depicting simple architecture that is going to be important for us to be able to more quickly render towns in the future, which is something that I think is going to become a thing once we get into the In Command of Guilds and Kingdoms book that I'll be developing as a Kickstarter project in what will probably be 2025. All right, let's get to that text down there, find out who we're talking with. What up? Whoever you am, engaged. Hey, Karen, what up? Hi. All right, so, yep. Like I was saying last week, we're working on the back detail here, and we're going to find, like, for instance, all I need to do is, like, put in a little rim lighting here and just a little bit extra detail in these buildings. Like, this is as rendered as a building needs to be. From here, pushing back, I can have less detail. I can have a bit more detail here, but this sets the pace for where we're at with this stage buildings here. So as we move forward into the foreground here, we'll be able to happily just curve up into and re-meet this piece here. 2 things that I think are interesting and worth note, but let me catch up here. What's up? Yeah, about that. Yeah, I am doing better. Thanks a lot for asking. It's very kind. But yeah, I am coming along. Oh, that's what we wanted to do. Hold on. Let's go fetch some sketch. And I posted yesterday. I actually created a thing yesterday and then placed it online as a video, a quick rundown of how system maps on a square grid works, and I offered a public open Roll20 page for people to push planets around in an orbit for them to find a position that they want, so that you can take a screenshot and then be able to provide an easy system map for whatever it is that you have going on at your table. Let's see. Done. This is where I want to be. Navigating and talking at the same time, it certainly is not my strong suit. But I was looking at the foreground here, and my mouse is locked up because this is a huge program we're opening here. But this giant blank spot we have down here on the front patch of grass in the foreground, I'm wondering if I cheekily have a dragonfly ship illustration right here that I might be able to actually use as our scaffold for the foreground ship illustration that we wanted to place. So I am going to just cheekily jump in here real quick, duplicate this layer, drop it down into, I guess it's gonna have to be a new layer. That's fine. And then we can duplicate this layer, and for some reason Photoshop doesn't always acknowledge that I have another program or another illustration going somewhere. It's goofy. And that's going to take a second for my graphics program to recognize that I've flipped from one program to... Jesus, these things are so bulky. Where are you at, buddy? Oh my God. I gotta... I'm waiting. Oh. i9 processor, 32 RAM, and I am literally sitting here waiting for Photoshop and OBS to finish communicating about rendering the image that we just created for you guys to see. So it looks like come on, buddy. Oh, you gotta pull out of this spiral, my man. Thank you. Look at that lag. I'm not touching it. There we go. Shit. I've overclocked it. Did you acknowledge I click? I see a square there. Oh my god, this is killing me. It's just a bit. I was just doing a bit. Come on. Get the hell off my screen. Thank you. Yes. Well, I said yes, save changes. That was a mistake. I acknowledge my mistake immediately. Fine. Whatever. Okay, so did this thing upload? Stuck in. Oh my god, this is living hell. So, how you guys doing? The idea is that so dragonflies fill a 2x2 square at the 50-foot scale, right? It's 100. It's basically a 100-foot craft, and we're looking at these things being about this lodge being about a 50-foot space that it occupies. So, a dragonfly ship should be able to be the length of basically from the front edge of this lodge here to the back of the copse and poking its nose out or its tail out over this ledge here. But considering the angle, it looks like it's going to be looking more like... Come on, dude. This is such a massive pain in the ass. Come on, guy. All right. Maybe if I close this down, that'll free up some CP usage. And I apparently have to update my OBS software today, like really, really bad. Are you going to acknowledge that we're done here? Please? I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about right now, but I certainly feel like the stream is faltering. Come on, man. I can't close it because it's not saved, so it's not gonna recognize it. It's just in a pipeline. OBS needs to be updated, and it isn't. I didn't want to take the time to update it because sometimes it screws up my formatting. So I didn't bother. You got it. Thank you. Fucking get the fuck out of here. There. Jesus. All right. Okay, finally, we're back in control. God, that was murderous. Let's go back up here to center outcrop, foreground, back foliage. Front lodge. Let's get this bug in place. Bum, bum, bum. Now we can get back to what we were going to do. Making me look bad here. It's my own fault for not updating my system sooner. It gets uglier and uglier the more I delay the foreground, forebluff, left front. Let's just pull it out all together like that. Come on, buddy. Free transform. Flip horizontal. There's a lot going on with this file subset. But this might work. I'm going to park it there. There we go. Still a bit big. Could work though. This could work. About like that seems about right. Now, is it too distracting? I have to rearrange that back leg there. but this is about the proper scale. No, actually, let's see. Let's look at our positioning here, and let's follow our rules of 3. So here are the rules of 3. The rules of 3 are that you want to break your piece up into 9 chunks, like a tic-tac-toe board. So we got one there, and like one there. So that's about equal vertically, and then here are horizontal, and then here. So this is our 3 horizontal chunks. Here's our 3 vertical chunks. It's roughly how the piece is breaking down. Let's scoot this down so it's actually a little bit more in line. 1, yeah, that feels about right. Okay, without being a stickler for details. So for reference, this is obviously off a little bit. Let's push this down just a touch because it actually matters. That feels just about balanced without sweating the details too hard. There. Okay, so rules of third. When you break down your composition, and you're going to break it into this grid. This is a hot spot, this is a hot spot, this is a hot spot, and this is a hot spot. You want something going on in these general areas when you're looking at the overall composition. So let's see. Pretty blank, so I'll put a little cluster there. This is a decent hot spot here because we have a good crease going on here. There's a lot of change in activity between this lodge. Like, this is the general vicinity that you want stuff happening. So we got stuff generally happening here, which is the ship. We got stuff happening generally here, which is the lodge, and you've got this back run for the ring world here. I could probably reposition this moon so it's over here a little bit more. That is worth investigating. Night back. Right back, that's what it says. Let's go down here to far clouds, top, water, ring, far, planet, star. Like, we could move this to here. That will help reposition the lighting that we'll need when we do highlights, so it feels more directional. And it centers up this piece a little bit more. And let's see. So another point here that's of interest is this break. Technically, this small map here is entering into this space, but the atmosphere, the planet rim edge, and the small scale map, those, I think, elements work here in the corner. So I think we got some interesting pieces going on. And I don't feel like this ship is throwing off our balance too much. So I think this might be able to stick. Right, buildings. Damsel fly copy. We're having a foreshortening issue. So if I'm going to drop this in here, probably actually want to make it a little bit smaller. That's starting to feel more appropriate. Yeah, I need to keep these buildings in frame so that these have a reference point, so that we have we can notate here that this is a drop. I can also build a little landing deck here, but it's off alignment because I'm cheating the angle because I'm just stealing from another portion of the book, obviously. I think this one is actually really good to use because the spellcasting chapter was previous to this one. So in the spellcasting chapter, we saw this book. We saw this ship being built using the spell. Let's get out of there. And then here we're going to see it fully rendered. So that should actually be a neat little piece of storytelling. I think I'm just about... Actually, that's a decent little pop. Man, now I'm kind of like, do I want it over here? And then I have all this open spot here, and I should probably keep it parked out front over here. I like that idea, though. All right. I think I know where we're at inside of here. Let's start trimming this down a little bit. Oh, ho, ho, you tell. Hey there, big bug. Stitch that shut, stitch that shut. Don't need the caster. Bye-bye. Ungroup. Ship. Even better. Sorry, I'm futzing around with the composition here, so this is going to cause me to... the angle is different. This is somewhat useful. Dock. That's kind of fun. All right, I think this is salvageable. That angle is wrong. The idea is right, but the angle is wrong. So we'll come back to this. We always were going to come back to this. This was not our goal for today. This was just something I wanted to fish at to see if it was something I could make work or not. But I think I'm happy with this being here. Yeah, and then I can blend this in a little bit more smoothly. That'll be good. Okay, cool. So let's see. Where are we at? Far right house. Probably buildings. All right, get back to work, you lazy hump. Yeah. All right. So now let's go to left buildings, which are over here. Y'all. That's not really a rendering, is it? We're going to duplicate that layer. We're going to left buildings. We're going to open this layer up again. We're going to merge this one down. Merge. There. That was a bit of a tangent. Sorry, guys. Let's start with this. Yeah, that's a good color. That and that's basically. Basically about, since it's a little bit closer to the camera, This one should be about like this. I've got another larkful tangent I want to take, but I shan't take it until I'm confident that I'm back in groove. Let me make that a little bit smaller. There we go. Back in groove with the space. So there we go. Beep, beep. There we go. Note to self, don't open up multiple huge... Don't open a gig's worth of image files at once while streaming. That is overclocking the limits of my CPU usage. Noted. All right, we're gonna be at lunch today. We're gonna do some martial powers. We're gonna continue working our way through the remnants of the monk traditions that we hadn't finished. I expect to get one done today, considering how long these things take for me to render out. But yeah, we're gonna do that in about 5.5 hours, I think. It's 7 o'clock here in Seattle. I expect to do that like around. I think I'll have time to do that around 12:30. And then tomorrow I'll also continue with the martial powers, and we're going to be transitioning into constructing the hex crawl pretty soon, which was the other tangent that I wanted to go on a lark about plotting scale and distance on a square map. But I can feel the energy has rushed out of that. We can talk about that more. I'll just hold on to that and let it percolate a little bit. And we'll get into that more once we actually get into the hex crawl aspect of the Ravnica Rebel Belt hex crawl, which I'm really excited about. It's starting to coalesce in my mind a little bit more solid now. I can see what we can build. I'm also starting to lock down in my head how the Spelljammer hex crawl for my next table campaign is going to run. And that's still gelling, but I think I have an interesting point crawl system that I can put together as a resource exploration sort of campaign, which is what we were always intending on doing anyway, where the team is harvesting minerals and crystal from Eberron, the Eberron Tears of Sybaris, the source, one of the sources of magic in the Eberron campaign setting, these crystals that are also the source of psionic resonance in the campaign. So I'm playing with that idea of making that into an effective hex crawl. And once this book is done, we'll have a lot more time to be able to detail out how that system works. We're at level 20 right now in my my Home Table's time travel campaign, and that's been running for a very long time. 5 years now. We're pushing. Yeah, August was our 5th year anniversary of running that campaign. And it is finally concluding, which is just crazy. That angle is wrong. I'm gonna have to watch that. Let's get rid of that real quick. We do need to make these a little bit bigger. We'll be back tonight as well to create more creature tokens for the Eberron Adventure that we've been illustrating and building maps for the past year. Also looking forward to moving forward with that particular piece. I owe my editor some answers, and I haven't gotten them to Stuart yet, so that makes me a bad person. So I need to carve out some time to go through and make some alterations to the text that he's provided for us. We only have one
section of the final. We have Act 3 that we're still whittling through. So I'm doing updates and revisions to Act 2 right now. And Stuart has asked for me to get all the updates current before he continues investing his editing energy into the third act, which I feel is an appropriate request. So Stuart's a great guy to work with. Stuart Braz, he's done a lot of Eberron work on DMsGuild. He is definitely worth looking into. See that lag spike that's happening? Whew, Dilly. Keep that clean. I'm gonna hit save here before something crazy happens. I'm gonna actually clear that out so the cache drops. Then we can restart it and hopefully have a stronger. There we go. I had a hair in my mouth. Oh, that's good. That angle is right. This one is wrong. There. Now you're right. Let's build the roof correct. Good. Nestled back in there is very nice. What is your story, my dude? Here to here to here. So you need to get that like this. There we go. Keep it simple. There. No, that is skewing. Good. You know what? It wouldn't be a Monday if it wasn't complicated. That feels off. This ain't, for whatever reason, this stupid little L box is just fucking me up this morning. I guess it's, yeah, it wouldn't be a morning stream if I wasn't having complications. That's apparently an accurate statement today. That's appropriate.
You know, when you turn on stream, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You're going to get the weapon or you're going to get the little girl. That's appropriate. Yep, it's... I'm definitely having a Monday. All right, well, it's saving, so let's take the opportunity to take a sip of water. My the problem that I am currently dealing with is that I have to scale in enough to see what I'm doing, but that scale is too close for me to be able to get a decent perspective. Like literally perspective with where these are at. Okay, maybe that's ambiguous. Like I've got this tilt going on like this. Where is that moon now? Going this way. I think that's the complication. So let's see if I can make this work. Do that to make this work. I've never been this tortured by such a simple little perspective thing. I don't understand why my brain is so stupid right now. What? Can't be helped. All I can do is suffer through the experience. This. Perhaps this can endure. There we go. Most of the time, my job, I think, is just keep my cool and let the rendering happen. I get, I could have been a little bit more calm during this disruption. I think it would have made for a more inviting experience for people. Okay, now I think we have a decent template that we can use. There we go. That felt pretty natural. Seems okay. Okay, this is actually really important because this is anchoring the rest of the architecture that's going to be rendered around it. So if I fuck up this perspective, the entire block is going to also be rendered wrong. That feels pretty good. I think I'm okay with that. Finally, Jesus. A little less aggressive there, Franny. There you go. These are all very simple A-frame buildings. I'm not doing anything too complicated here, at least not initially. I think when I render a little bit more detail, considering these buildings are closer than the ones further out there, we'll have a chance to have a little bit more interesting architecture. But I really don't need to go overboard, considering the number of pixels that we're rendering here. It's a very physical limitation on how crazy detailed we can even attempt to get in the first place. Regardless of how much we want to get detailed, it's simply a physical limit of the pixels themselves that will prevent us from being able to do so, regardless of where our heart takes us. So this is kind of putting a constraint on her. Interesting difference in. I think we'll keep that. Let's see. So I want to carve that away and put this in place. Something like this. Once we get all these buildings rendered, we'll then be able to go through and add little twigs and sticks and dead trees and stuff, and a little bit more distinguishing details for these trees that are framing these little blocks of buildings. About right, yeah. Watched The Black Hole yesterday from the old Disney early 80s movie. That was the first movie that I ever chose to see as a little kid. Philip, what movie do you want to see this year? I want to see The Black Hole. Okay. I had Black Hole coloring books. I had Black Hole toys. We had just gotten cable, and it was playing 4 times a day. So I'd watch it over and over and over again. I loved The Black Hole. That movie was awesome. I still love it. I recognize how shit the writing is and blah 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 blah. But at this point for me, it's just nostalgia. I love it because it is what it is. There, and we can actually should probably. I think this color that we're using here is probably supposed to be the ground, so I'm going to get rid of it. Replace it with the normal building color that we had already selected. And stick with the plan. I don't know if these things are getting too close. I'm gonna keep that gap in there.
this angle should match the base of the buildings here. I can just lay in this dark shadow here, and then I can paint over it with terrain, turf, or whatever it is that we're using. That's not necessarily even. There. Been watching Courtney Cox's Shining Veil. That's on. I think it's on Amazon. That's a pretty funny show. It's just goofball jump scares and, you know. Well, Courtney Cox is funny. She's the dark haired chick from Friends. She was also the main character in Cougar Town. I don't know what else she's done. Cougar Town and Friends, I think, are her two biggest pulls. But those shows lasted a while. I mean, Courtney Cox is in a show. Chances are that show's going to last at least 4 seasons. It's she's got a good track record. Perspective isn't perfect. I want to skew that. Free transform. Perspective. Dun, dun. Hit it, timely timer. Is my first kick? Nah. Been a few. I've just lost time. Just lost where I'm at in time. Oh, that's pretty good. Nice job, Kearney. I'm actually only off a touch. It's actually pretty accurate. Nice. All right, well, hey, that was all worth it. Let's get back to work. Literally building steps to connect the community foreground to the further background to make sure everything remains consistent in its angles and design. Just go straight across, but that's too much. This is too much of an inlet. The right word? Inlet? Maybe. Let's take that back. Yeah, let's just keep that. There. spaced. Here is a corner, literally a cornerstone. Yeah, that does feel right. All right, cool. I think this is where we were originally. Of course, it always brings us back to dough. Dough. Nope, that was good likewise. Did not need to change that. Actually, we did. I had to turn that down so that would meet the corner. So that's good. Now we're creating this ledge situation, so I need to extend these down. This feels a little off. Let's merge down. Let's merge that down. This seems to be getting by okay with that. This seems to be aligned with that. That all feels like that line. This still feels like... I know that this has to line up like this because of this here. This is setting the pace for this perspective right here. So we have to stay on line there. But we also have to get... We're looking at a square peg round hole situation right now. To be able to render across like this. Technically our vanishing line is right here. I think is why I'm choking here. Can I cheek that like that? Sorry, advanced perspective issues. I've been making boxes in perspective for decades and I still fuck it up. Ah, perspective. Smite me some more.
Where are you at, dude? Ah, right back. No. Yeah, far. There we go. Building in the front. Sorry, I'm checking perspective here.
Making sure I'm not fucking up completely. Currently, I feel like I'm fucking up completely. It actually puts the horizon line right about here. Left, far right. Yeah, that is off angle. Okay, let's continue working the problem. Just like back in grade school. When in doubt, fix your shit. All right, now that we've completely wasted my time, let's try wasting it again. Looks like this angle isn't really that outrageously offline, is it? That's supposed to be like that, and that's going to be like that. Wow, is that really my angle of engagement? So if I've got a straight line like this, but then I've got a skew like this, and this is how the river is going. It's not going to naturally line up. This is assuming right lines. Like this is all right. This is a right angle here, but life doesn't work in right angles. So while we have to work in the obtuse. So right now I'm trying to figure out, now that I've realized where my vanishing point actually is, and yeah, the moon was actually standing right over the vanishing point. That was convenient. I like that. I think I want to go back to that. Even though the thing had me push it over to the side, I want to go back to having a star. There. Straight on point. I like that better. Okay, we'll keep that. Nice to know where our vanishing point is. How can we use it to succeed right now? Ferrari buildings are relatively okay. That shit does inform us about how these buildings can sit. So I need to reduce, well, yeah, I need to reduce this down a lot so it's not getting in the way. There we go. Quite a disappointment. I thought I was really going to make some ground today. Well, I am making ground today because I'm not losing ground tomorrow by figuring this thing out right now. It's just embarrassing to realize how much I'm fucked up. But that's why I do this thing, man. That's why we do this, to demonstrate the horrible. Salvageable, like, at all. A bit. Alright, I'm just going to duplicate this layer so I can forget about regurt. Yeesh, that sucks. Alright, well, it's better now than later. I'm just gonna fucking wreck all this shit. Get out of my life. Get the fuck out of here. Start over. Start over. There we go. Just use the lines. Simplify. 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 too big. Let's, well, A, I was a fool for attempting to render all this without keeping eye on my perspective lines. So let me stepping on that landmine be a lesson to anyone else that wants to survive. That feels pretty good like that now. There. So I'm going to. We're now on my last 20-minute burst, and instead of me getting to the front lodge, we are now backtracking. I am angry about that, so I'm not letting it go easily, which is wonderful. That is the experience I am to have. Once I get done sulking, I'll have time this evening for me to be able to render this out, so I'm going to have to do so. So when we come back tomorrow, because we still have 20 minutes, but again, we're going to be resolving this debacle until then. So what will happen tomorrow is we'll finish rendering this lodge. We'll finish detailing and adding some variety to the forest down below, and then we'll build the ship, and then we'll be done. So I expect us to be done by Wednesday. Moving on to the next piece. Can't happen soon enough. We will recover. Of course we will. So this guy's on point. These are doing okay back here. All right. So I only fuckered up a little bit. This whole structure is gonna. I am right. That is gonna have to change. Also have to keep in mind, again, that everything isn't just built on the proper angles that you want. You have to be able to rotate in place, have a more obtuse angle. As the river curves, it's going to not follow the neat lines of engagement that you want. That's acceptable. Such a cool little, building. On its own, it was okay, but just didn't fit the overall perspective. I lament the loss. Shit. I should have just started with this platforming idea in the beginning anyway. Go in here like that.
All right, we're just about done eating our piece of humble pie here and getting back into having some confidence in what we're doing. Good angle, good. There, that angle is good, that is good. Yeah, I was gonna say, it isn't. That render is wrong.
And it just goes off the cliff, so straighten that edge out like that. Fine. Nice. Lined up. All right. Straight away, keeping that on point. Here. Keep us in perspective here. Come on, Kearney, keep your angles up. All right, well, that is it. Well, it is what it is. Whatever that was, we did it. So this has been an episode in me being humbled. So when we come back, we'll have some more of this mess resolved. How humbling. All right, well, it is what it is, and that's all we had the time to do. So let's get that straightened away, and I think that is all starting to feel lined up pretty good. This still feels a little... It's okay. All right, so... There. Let's get here. All right. So I'm gonna have to spend some. We'll be spending some time tonight off camera, trying to get as much of this terrain render or these buildings rendered out. Here, that lines up pretty good. Yeah. Well, thank God this is all in perspective. That's nice. Yeah. So luckily this building is actually rendered in accurate perspective. For some reason, at some point, I decided that I just didn't care about the laws of perspective anymore during this composition, and it just came back and bit me in the balls. So, hey, thanks, Karen, for sticking around and silently rooting for me while letting me suffer through this. We're going to be back stronger tomorrow. A little bit more confidence that we know what the hell we're doing. We'll take care of, once we get this foreground resolved, I think that's going to be okay. All right, so I'm going to be back in about 4.5 hours for us to continue working on monk conversions for the martial power system. And then we'll also be back tonight in about 11 hours for us to continue working on Eberron creature token production. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning continuing with this mess. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, Karen, for the vote of support. And I will see you guys. I will see you guys in a few. Laters.